All right.
Hello and welcome once again to the State of the Empire Assembly for the week of the 23rd of November 2019. As always, I would like to thank everyone who chose to attend this week, as these assemblies help us to keep the Empire strong and flexible, providing transparency to the masses and a means for Imperials of all ranks to exchange feedback and ideas. Thank you all for your continued interest and participation in Kaldara. In attendance as of the start of this assembly are Callsign Sparky, Mikey P82, Drusilla, Merc Angel, Insane 35, Thor 1986, Unlucky Mike, Ailerons, Azamet, Grandmaster Frodo, and of course, presiding over the meeting, you have myself, Emperor Farrison. Of course, it's not a State of the Empire without the greeting of our newest members over the past week. The following list is pulled from the list of members to complete registration on our website at KaldaraNEmpire.com. In no particular order, we have Bilbo, John G. Fondlebox, yes, that is a real name, I promise, Ndog 1986, Ironhammer GG, Sir Mordigan, Insane 30, The Coming Storm 2, and Nielsen, a candidate who has, for the Officer Corps, who has finally decided to join us on the website, which we appreciate. If you are new here and did not hear your name, then I suggest you go down to KaldaraNEmpire.com and make sure you're registered for access to tournaments, giveaways, special events, promotions, commendations, and more. Now, as always, we follow welcoming our newest members with a recognition of our growing number of experienced and veteran friends, brothers, sisters, and comrades. That's right, folks. It's time for promotions. First up, we have those who have passed our basic requirements of activity and group engagement to move beyond the levels of Kamat, our recruit position. For those who achieve activity level 3 within Discord and are registered on the website, are reviewed for joining the ranks of the Empire as a fully fledged enlisted personnel at the rank of Stivos. For those who are active, this is usually achieved within their first to second week within the Empire, signifying that they have adjusted well to their participation and place within the group. Jayal is hereby promoted to Stivos. Drusilla is hereby promoted to Stivos. Azamet is hereby promoted to Stivos. Unlucky Mike is hereby promoted to Stivos. SJ is hereby promoted to Stivos. Merc Angel is hereby promoted to Stivos. Ailerons is hereby promoted to Stivos. Thor 1986 is hereby promoted to Stivos. Insane is hereby promoted to Stivos. And Ironhammer GG is hereby promoted to Stivos. A moment of congratulations to all of you for your continued participation within the group, and hopefully you're finding your place here quite well and enjoying your stay. Next, of course, we have those who are being promoted in recognition of continued activity and a willingness to step forward in the interests of bettering the group. Alchemist is hereby promoted from Stivos past Repikar up to Photomar in recognition of his efforts to lead raid groups, teach new members, and his eagerness to aid the Empire alongside his high activity. Ailerons is also promoted to Repikar in recognition of continued activity and engagement within the group. Real chatterbug, that one. Azamet is hereby promoted to Repikar in recognition of continued activity and high engagement within the community. Also a real chatterbug. A fine congratulations to all those who have received promotions this week. If you feel you or someone you know has been overlooked for promotion, please contact myself, Warlord Frodo, or your Legion commander to plead your case. The group has gotten somewhat large, and tracking every single person on top of balancing the needs of real life is next to impossible for the handful of us that try, but we still want to make sure everyone gets the recognition they deserve for their efforts. moving right along, I'd actually like to take a moment to address this week's activity levels. On the front of Destiny 2, we've started organizing our raids more thoroughly, bringing them to a better state, getting raid leaders organized, recurring raid teams, from Raid Team Aurora to Raid Team Banshee. Despite some setbacks this week with server problems during one of our attempted raids yesterday, I firmly believe things are going well and will soon be running raids on a near daily basis, complete with a core group training new recruits in how to handle each raid. Beyond Destiny 2, I've noticed that there's a growing interest in our presence within Elder Scrolls Online and the 8th Legion. I'll be happy to start getting people settled in game, and seeing an expansion to the 8th Legion should do the Empire some wide-reaching good. We will be looking in the near future for new Legion commander for the 8th Legion and new officers to help run the 8th Legion, assuming interest remains stable and growth proceeds. Next up, I would like to address the Imperial Academy. There were some minor setbacks with life making it difficult to finish writing up the curriculum, but I currently have a number of documents I'm going through to finish compiling that, and I expect within the next day or two to begin the first stage of training for our current Zakrix to get our new generation of officers off to a good start. I'd like to thank everyone involved for their patience in what has been an odd week for me on a personal level and a bit of a stressful one outside of Imperial duties. If anyone feels that they would like to step up to begin taking on training and an officer position or further responsibilities in their legion, in a new game, or just in general within the Empire, we're always welcoming new cadets to the Academy. And we'd certainly like to see some more people stepping up, volunteering as raid leaders and teachers. And we'd like to see some more recommendations for games that people would like to see us expand into, because Destiny only gets you so far before you get burnt out. Finally, I'd like to bring attention to Subscribestar. It is, in fact, up and running, if a bit bare bones at the moment. If you like what we do here and would like to see the Empire continue to grow and thrive, alongside taking a bit of stress off of my shoulders and the shoulders of our people, consider subscribing at www.subscribestar.com/Kaldaran-Empire. If you have a little extra cash to burn, that is. Additionally, we'll be welcoming suggestions for various rewards we can offer to our subscribers without creating unfair paywalls that would damage the functionality and camaraderie and unity of the group. If you have any ideas at all, please submit them for our review. Consider things that might incentivize you personally or people you know to subscribe and make it easier on us to do this more full time and to get done whatever we need to. I'd like to thank you all for your contributions and your support, both the handful that may do so financially and, of course, the interpersonal, emotional support and the encouraging words I've received from many of you who quite seem to like what we do here. It means a lot to me, I believe as well the Warlord, and of course, the functioning of the Empire. With the mushy stuff out of the way, I'd like to open the floor to the public for feedback, questions, comments, and concerns. If anybody has anything they'd like to say or add, feel free to speak up now.
Not everyone.
I'll let Frodo go first.
Oh, go ahead, man.
I just want to say it's nice to see that everything's going well from the long time that I've been gone, still dealing with just my personal situation and being unable to play and participate like I really wish I could. And I'm just amazed by how well and how good y'all are doing. And it's just so awesome to see.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. And of course, I'd like to remind you that you've always got a place here whenever your life gets straightened out enough for you to participate. We would love to have you back
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to say?
How before I even say what I'm thinking, how many do we have currently active?
You cut out. Could you repeat that?
Thinking he means currently active.
Yeah, before I say what I'm thinking about, I want to see how many we had active.
Are we talking? Okay, the question. Get where you're trying to come from. Active members, but are we talking about specific
Active members,
game,
sorry.
Kaldara as a whole?
Just members of legions as a whole.
Exact numbers are a bit unclear.
Estimation.
That's going to come down to your Legion commander.
All right.
Because unfortunately, me and Atomic have so much shit to run and do the behind the scenes. We can't keep track of everything. All I know is in Kaldara as a whole, there's over 400 people, all from different time zones.
However, there are certainly a number of inactives. I would say that. Well, it also depends on what you mean by active. On once a week, a few times a month, on a daily basis. Those are all going to be very different numbers.
All right, then I'll
say, if you want to give me a moment.
I, on average, see for Discord-wise as a whole, there's roughly an average of 100 people online at all times.
Got it. Then I'll hold back on what I'm saying for now.
Well, I'd like to hear it anyway, if you don't mind.
I was just thinking, because you said it's hard for you guys to run it, I was thinking of more of how you have the one in command. I don't know how you completely have it, but whether you might have like two people under the commanding officer of the Legion to help run as separates.
All right.
Okay, so that's your EXO, and those are your admins.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and take a moment to explain this. Each Legion, when at full strength and running on all cylinders, has a Legion commander, the commanding officer, an executive officer who acts as the commanding officer's right-hand man or woman, we don't discriminate, and underneath that are intended to be several officers determined by the number of people who feel like stepping up into that position and the number of people that the Legion commander feels is appropriate for them to have to get their work done. Which is why we have our Imperial Academy that we've introduced to begin training the next generation of officers and teaching them all the tricks and tips and methods that we've learned through a lot of hard trial, error, and sweat of the mind to help impart those lessons and that knowledge to the next set of our officers so that they can perform their duties in line with what we expect, but also just more easily.
Got it. Sorry, wasn't paying enough attention then.
No, it's all right. Right now we're still in a weird phase of rebuilding a couple of things and getting the legions back up to where we want them. So, it's completely understandable. I would expect that each of you should be in the near future becoming familiarized with your officers, as we're going to be putting some people in certain positions to get things done. So you should be seeing more of them. I hope that addresses the concern.
It does.
Glad to hear it. Was there anyone else who would care to speak on any matters that come to mind?
I have an idea.
All right, the floor recognizes Drusilla. Please proceed.
For those of us who actually do a lot of Crucible, would anybody be interested in arranging Crucible teams as well as raids and everything else like we would raids?
I see absolutely no problem with that. I know that the bot that we have that organizes raids is just as capable of doing so for Crucible, and if you can find a regular time where you'd like to get together and go pub stomping in competitive or casual or anywhere in between, I have no problem with organizing semi-permanent fire teams the same way we do raids. I'd even be interested to see if we could get a couple going and see them competing.
Since it was my suggestion, I could take point on organizing Crucible Pug teams, see what we can do with it, or we can just play it by ear, see where everybody feels, they stand with it.
If you do that, I would join you in the Crucible.
I was actually thinking about that as well.
Alright, so we have a second and a third for the motion, so I'd say that that's a pretty great indication that there's definitely some interest there.
Alrighty. Let me know what time works for anybody, and I'll play with your guys' schedule. Since I'm in Legion 2, I'm actually 3 hours behind Alchemist and Mercangel.
Well, I would say that's some great progress, and I'm glad to see people taking the fore on some things. It fills me with a lot of hope and confidence in the future of the Empire. And I get the feeling a number of you may be seeing officer spots somewhere in the not-too-distant future. I had a stray thought, and it lost me. God damn it. I lost it.
You're funny, man.
Well, finally I would like to say that we're going to be working on organizing our seasonal Crucible tournament amongst the group. And sign-up should be live on the website probably within about a week. I just have to finish compiling the list of stuff that you probably shouldn't use because it's completely and utterly broken. So we tend to take the sort of top meta weapons out of the list. And if anybody knows anything that particularly annoys the shit out of them to go up against, feel free to let us know and we'll evaluate it for whether or not it's broken or just annoying. The intention is to create a more balanced, dynamic, and engaging Crucible experience with our tournament. And we also have to figure out what the reward will be. First prize, etc. Beyond, of course, the title, which, work in progress name, something to the effect of Paladin of Undeath. So I hope that there's some interest among the group for a little friendly competition for a special title that you get to wave in everybody else's face.
I think that sounds great.
I like that idea.
Which would likely see your server username change to whatever it is, The Undying. So, that's how we...
The eternal paladin of death.
That's how we'll give people... So, for example, if Drusilla were to win, we would actually change your Discord nickname in the server to Drusilla the Undying. So that you can kind of flex your title on people. And it's a title that we issue for life. Each season we do a seasonal tournament with its own title. That title stays with the winner for life, unless they abandon the group, at which point it passes to the runner-up, because fuck you for abandoning the group. Beyond that, is there anything further that anybody would like to put forward?
I know Carrot wants to say something, but his phone's acting up, so I'm going to pass my headset over right quick.
Benefits of living in the same place temporarily. Well, not living, but being in.
Yep.
Goodness.
Just one more thing on ESO. I just wanted to ask, Who is currently in charge of that?
It's had to default back to me as the last Legion commander for the 8th Legion left us.
Got it.
So I have taken temporary charge until we find somebody else to step up as Legion commander.
All right. Just wanted to ask.
Absolutely.
And as I posted in the onboarding chat, that means the position's wide open. Express interest and show yourself able to lead, make your case, and I would imagine that our warlord and our emperor would have no problem in training you up and putting you in charge of them. So I encourage that.
That's what the academy's for.
I do have one other question in regards to that. Are we able to join any two different legions if they're for a different game?
Yes, if they're for different games, then that's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't restrict you to one legion, although obviously you can only join one Destiny Legion because that's how Destiny's Legion or clan system works. But beyond that, the legions are just the way we create the clans and who we put in charge. Now, I don't necessarily want to have somebody in charge of 2 legions because that's going to put a lot of burden on them and it's going to probably cause them to neglect something. But if somebody here were to step up in charge of the 8th Legion, they could still maintain their spot in the 1st or 2nd when they want to play Destiny. So there's no worry there.
Yeah, because unfortunately, Destiny doesn't make it so you can make clans and stuff subsidiary, so you can have the guild leaders being part of a higher up clan. It doesn't work that way.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
Yeah, just going to quickly jump in here. Wanted to say to you, Atomic, thank you for setting up that subscribe star. I've wanted to help the clan since they've reliable on regularly. So this is a great way for me to give back to the clan. Just submitted my my subscription to the subscribe star page. So thank you for setting that up, and I hope to see a little bit more fleshed out.
Should be coming in the coming weeks. And thank you, of course, for your support.
So I've been kind of monitoring. Only right now we only have 2 subscribers.
Yep. Well, that should grow in time.
I will join it as soon as I can.
Hey, no pressure. It's a pay what you will business model, so to speak. So if you feel we deserve something and you can spare it, we appreciate it. We're not going to require anybody to throw money at us to be part of the group. That's just scummy and dumb.
So where's a link to subscribe star? Because coming back after a while, so I'm a little bit.
I will drop it in general chat for everybody.
It's also available right there in the Imperial announcement board, so it hasn't gotten buried by chat.
And if it does get buried, it's in the pinned messages of the announcements.
I have a question about Gambit.
All right.
Are you guys gonna make teams for those? Because I'm interested in joining Gambit team.
Same here.
If you got the interest for a Gambit team, I'm willing to bet that Charlemagne can probably set something up as well.
It does, so.
Yep. So like with the raids and the PvP interests, if you have interest in doing the Gambit, then just set it up with the bot and get your team going.
I'm glad to see us expanding our organized operations beyond just raids. Which, thank you for bringing that up because it managed to trigger whatever was in my brain that I lost earlier. We're going to be introducing a simple method for people to file operation reports. It's going to be very simple. It's going to be kind of the responsibility of a team leader. So if you put together a raid, you just are going to put together a basic summary and, pick one or two people to commend for their efforts in the raid. The same thing with Crucible or Gambit. As you put together teams, just consider, one or two people who stand out. Consider, we won this many matches, we lost this many, overall we did well or we didn't. We'll get you guys some basic forms. It'll just be a couple of lines, and there'll be a channel to submit them. This will actually allow us at the top to further track some of your in-game activity to see who is forming teams with their teammates and going in and playing the game. It's probably going to be something under the name of operations reports or something like that. And we'll pull a little bit of our promotion habits from that as well. So it'll be a combination of your activity in Discord and the community, and your activity in game and how often you're playing and putting things together with clanmates will help to determine how quickly you're leveling up, so to speak, in the Empire. And promotions should be distributed accordingly. Does anybody have any feedback on that concept as a whole?
Nope. Reminds me of the old SL days.
Sounds to me like pretty much everything else we do here in the Empire. You want to see something happen, make it happen, and let the clan celebrate along with you.
I've noticed that people have been complimenting us on how well organized things are, and it's made me realize that maybe there is more of a demand for an organized style of play than I've been considering. So I'm hoping that that's another way to help give you some a system to engage with, so to speak, and an extra level of enjoyment for everybody here. And then you guys can play rock, paper, scissors to see who files the paperwork.
That always is the best method of settling feuds.
Yes.
What about people that are currently in charge of, let's say, Raid, Crucible, or Gambit should be the ones who file the reports for those group activities?
Typically, yes. It should be whoever the fire team leader who organized the event is should be the one to file the paperwork. So, Drusilla, if you were to put together a Crucible team, I would expect you to file the operations report.
Got it.
Hopefully that doesn't seem like we're adding too much stale, boring paperwork to everything. I do want to keep it short and sweet, so it takes you, 2 minutes at the end of a couple of matches to fill out and not a long-winded, obnoxious thing to deal with. But we do need some way to see who's putting together teams and who's doing well and who's engaging with the group. So we're trying to find different methods of dealing with that particular question. With that out of the way, did anybody else have anything they'd like to add before we call the meeting?
Not that I can think of. Since we have had that increased interest in ESO, if anyone wants to get on tonight, right quick, maybe get people added. We can do that.
I was going to
And
do that in a little bit.
I would suggest if the soon-to-be officers would be willing to stay behind, maybe for another 5 or 10 minutes. So maybe we could get a little talking with about where we're going from here.
I will be joining in a little bit after probably about an hour. I'll join in and try to get into the clan.
All right. And a final note for the evening, I would say. They may need one or two more people for the raid in about half an hour. They're going to be doing Garden of Salvation, so please be light level 950. And if you're interested, proceed on over to D2 Raids and hit that little plus button. If you want to be an alternate or a reserve, hit that question mark. and I'd like to see plenty of events being organized. I'll likely be changing D2 raids to D2 operations so that it can be used for Crucible, Gambit, etc. And I will be creating an operations report channel, which will collate operations from all games as we expand into other things. And I'll be keeping operational logs, probably backed up on some sort of document in case Discord ever has some sort of major shit fit, because I'm a sentimental bastard when it comes to seeing you people and your glorious raffle stomping of random assholes on the internet. With that out of the way, I would say it's been a fantastic half hour and a very productive meeting. I would like to thank again everybody who chose to attend, everybody who chose to contribute, step forward, offer advice, suggestions, anybody who's, of course, donated to our Subscribe Star. All of it, I'd like to thank you all a million times. It really does feel like there's sort of a dream coming true with the group, and it warms the cockles of my heart.
God damn it.
Thank you about
Why?
Now if only I had a good Jim Cummings impression. Anywho, thank you again to everybody, and of course, long live the Empire.
Hell.
All hail.
To the Empire.
To the Empire.